Hi there. I'm Bee Sedgwick, founder and writer for Spirit Moxie, a vision of the little things we can do to change the world. And one of the ways we do that is by being present. And one of the keys to truly living in the moment and knowing that we can change things is to know the power of story. Stories are basically, for me, in this instance, what we say about things, the reasons we give to them. And for the most part, we're so wired because our stories protect us and feed us. We don't question them much. We just live our lives that way. And some of them are really fabulous and life-giving, but many of them are really sort of stressful and give us fears or misgivings or make us angry. A lot of them are around what we say to other people. Byron Katie is famous for addressing how we look at that, not to say that what we're thinking is wrong, but that there's always another little twist or piece that we can put on it. Comedians do this. They state something and then do that little obvious twist on what's real. But lately, and because I always like someone else's sort of view on this, I ran into something written by Dorothy Sayers, who is a famous writer, if you will. She was part of the same group as the Inklings, or was at least interacted with them, which means C.S. Lewis and Charles Williams and Tolkien, the whole Lord of the Rings piece. And along with that, she belonged to a detection club, because her main character is somebody named Lord Peter Wimsey, and you just need to take my word for it. I happen to really love her books. But in the detection club wrote a book called The Floating Admiral, where each member of the club wrote a different chapter as they went along with this and built on the chapter before it. And the rules were, they couldn't do anything miraculous. They couldn't make a miraculous thing happen. They couldn't change or ignore whatever little bit the person in put before that. And Dorothy Sayers writes, Dame Sayers writes the introduction to this particular thing and ends it with these words that I'd just like to share with you to think about as you look at the things in your own life. It is entertaining and instructive to note the surprising number of different interpretations which may be derived to account for the simplest actions. Where one writer may have laid down a clue, thinking that it could point only in one obvious direction, succeeding writers have managed to make it point in a direction exactly opposite. And it is here, perhaps, that the game approximates most closely to real life. We judge one another by our outward actions, but in the motive underlying those actions, our judgment may be widely at fault. Preoccupation by our own private interpretation of the matter, we can see only the one possible motive behind the actions, so that our solution may be quite plausible, quite coherent, and quite wrong. And here possibly we detective writers may have succeeded in wholesomely surprising and confounding ourselves and one another. We are only too accustomed to let the great detective say airily, "Cannot you see, my dear Watson, that these facts admit of only one interpretation?" After our experience in the matter of the Floating Admiral, which is the title of this book, our great detectives may have learned to express themselves more guardedly. So, and goes on to say how one piece goes categorically into having no other interpretation in the mind of the author. And finding or do something different in. I may say that the helpless bewilderment in which I was plunged on receipt of Mr. Willard Kennedy's little bunch of braid teasers was apparently fully equaled by the hideous sensation of bafflement which overcame Father Ronald Knox when, having, as I fondly imagined, cleared up much that was obscure, I handed the problem to him. And so forth and so on until the end, where someone completely did a whole other twist on the whole complete prop. So when things are really bad, or when you can distance yourself enough to like watch something that's going on with someone else, how could that be true? How might the plots around you be completely different than you could possibly imagine? So I offer you that in the whole vision of story and possibility as a beginning to really claim who you are and how you are in this marvelous world of ours. Thank you so much.